Okay, I thought I'd do one of these updates again. I've got you on a very wide-angle camera at the moment, and that's because there's nowhere that I can put the normal camera down on the floor with a tripod. I really need to tidy up this room. I've been going from one video project to another in rapid succession, just trying to keep on top of things, and as a result, I kind of end up keeping half of the previous one in the room while I'd start the next one, and it's gone ridiculous. I need to take some time off really, but it's just it's not quite possible at the moment, just due to scheduling of things. Let me start off by talking. Well, actually, the camera that you're on is a Sony MV1. You've seen it in many videos. I've ordered an alternative to this, and I was hoping. Actually, let me put this light on. This might help. Is that better? Don't know. I was hoping to get an alternative to this camera, a replacement, a 4K camera, the Zoom 4K Q2N. They already do a Q2N. Great names, these. And they brought out a 4K version, or they are doing. Now, the one you're on at the moment is 1080p. It isn't really very good, 1080p. It kind of looks more like 720p. So my intention was to replace the camera that you're on with this Zoom 4K Q2N, and then it'll be higher resolution. I can crop in on the image, so maybe it won't be all this sort of scenery around here and this fisheye effect. I can get down to the centre part of it and it'll still look in a good quality of resolution. It's got good microphones on like this has, as you notice. I'm not using a lavalier, I'm just talking into it. There's a couple of mics on the front. Anyway, enough about that. That's what I wanted. I was waiting. If you're wondering why this video's taken a while to appear, I kept saying I was going to do it. I was hoping this camera was going to turn up, but it hasn't, so you're on this one instead. A few things that have turned up though. I want to rush through this list. I'll explain why in a minute. I mean, not rush through it, just get it out of the way, but make it a bit more condensed, because I just go on a bit too long with these things. Okay, a couple of things that have arrived. Got my new Mac Mini here. I think you can see that on the camera there. I haven't got a screen. I don't know what you're looking at. The screen's on the side of this camera, so I think everything's in shot. Yeah, so I got my new Mac Mini. I kind of spec'd out a Mac Mini to a ridiculous degree. Top ends, the maximum chip you can get, the speed. I didn't put all the memory in it. I put something like 32 gigs in, 1 terabyte SSD, and that's about it. Everything else is kind of standard, I think. But that's into this monitor. I've still got my MacBook Pro over here. I just wanted a desktop computer rather than running everything off a laptop all the time, which I know is going to die at some point. The battery's going to die. It's not designed to be used closed all the time, so I wanted something more suitable like that. Plugged in my existing keyboard and mouse, updated everything. I'm back where I started again. So that's one of the upgrades. Also got a new iPad, because I don't know if you know that mine's been broken for about a year, and you think, well, iPads are kind of not anything to do with this. I do a lot of research on an iPad. When I'm doing the magazine clips especially, I'll look on books.google.com at old Billboard magazines. You can get them full screen on that. You can do a screenshot. You can capture it. It's nice high resolution. You can then crop it in the app, so it's a nice page. And then it saves to the iPhoto library, which is then on this as well, because it's all shared, so that I can drag those things into the videos. If I look at the same pages on here, iBooks or something, the screens I capture on there just don't look as good as when I've captured them on the iPad. So I do a lot of research, a lot of reading on the iPad, getting bookmarks, things, putting them into read later folders, all that kind of stuff. And then when it comes to finishing a project, I've kind of done a lot of the pre-work on there, but of course do all the editing on this one. So it's kind of they work in conjunction with one another. One without the other is a little bit difficult, whichever way around I try and do it. Talking of which, though, I was in a hotel the other day, a Premier Inn, so it's like a motel, because you might be aware my dad had a stroke. That means he's unable to drive now. I'm having to visit him every sort of 3 weeks or so, because my mother can't drive either, so I have to take them out shopping, or at least my mum out shopping, and so that means I drive over to his house a lot. But because of my conditions, we're like a disastrous family. I can't drive there in one go from my house. It's just too much of a drain on me. After about a couple of hours of driving, I start getting a bit weird. So I stop off at this Premier Inn overnight and then go on to their house the day after in the morning. So it's a kind of 2-day thing going visiting them. As a result, I had a bit of time in the Premier Inn. I thought, I'll record one of these sections now. So I started off doing it. I did a bit, and it dragged on a little bit. And of course, the scenery is a bit dull in there. And it didn't really seem to. It felt a bit negative when it came across. I wasn't trying to be negative. I think it's because I've been driving for all that time and I was just a bit worn out. So that's why I want to keep this one short, upbeat, quick, rush it along. I don't want it to drag on and get itself in a malaise. So moving on from there, the next thing I was going to say, I keep seeing things around me here. As you can see, everything's out, so it kind of keeps reminding me. But yeah, I was doing that video on an iPad. It came across all right. The camera was all right, and the microphone on the iPad itself was good as well. So it all sounded nice and clear. And my intention was, I got the, a few weeks ago, I mentioned this in the previous video, I got myself a Sony PCM D100 recorder. Now this is a few years old, but I got it sort of off Amazon, open box or something, quite cheap. Reason I got this one, optical input on the side. Not many of these digital recorders will take an optical input, and then I can put that WAV file into a thing and stuff. There's a reason for that. I've got another project going on which outputs as an optical digital file, so I wanted to be able to capture it without it going into analog. So anyway, I took that. Well, I thought about taking this along with me to do the voice in this Premiere, and I thought, you know, I was planning on this beforehand. But as it was, the microphone on the iPad was great. I mean, it sounded really good. Probably better than the one on this, maybe. But in the end, it was just a bit dull. It was just a bit dull. I don't want to bore anyone. You don't watch these things to be bored, do you? Yeah, because I think, you know, Red Dead Redemption and Forza Horizon 4 and things. There's a couple of games that I think, oh, I'd like to play those. And then I look at the shelf where all the other games that I intended to play exist. I've got sealed games on systems that I don't even have anymore. Now, I was going to talk about microphones. The sound on my videos, I'm disappointed with it. I'm always disappointed with the sound of my videos. Obviously, I've got this sinus problem, which doesn't help. But when I'm talking, I've got my microphone here, I'm talking, and it's just, the audio's bouncing off this screen. I'm getting this kind of backward echo type thing, reverberation or whatever. So I've been trying to work around it. Now this is the last couple of videos, say the last 3 or 4 maybe, I've been using a different mic setup. The same mic, but with my homemade disastrous mount. I'm really trying to find something that works well for me, but I've ended up cobbling a few things together. You'll laugh at this. It's a disaster. So what we've got here is my normal microphone with a kind of acoustic thing behind it. I've got my pop filter in front of it, and it'll just pop down there and I'll be doing the voiceover. Now the reason that it's this design is I want it low down so I can see over the top to the screen when I'm doing the voiceover, and of course everything I look at is all arms and mics and booms and things. So this hopefully was getting rid of some of that echo from before. Not ideal. Oh, the echo's listening to me now. It's not ideal, but it's about as good as I can do with what I've got here at the moment. I'm still looking for something that's like more purpose-built. Nice little flat bass, stand. This mic, see, this mic has to hold in this thing from the side, which is annoying. If it attached to the bottom, it'd be better. Struggle with audio all the time. So if you've got any ideas for something that looks like that but is sort of ready-made and works really well, then yeah, fine. But remember, it's all about the backing, about the getting rid of the echo that comes off the back. Now, one more thing behind me here. I don't think you'll have seen this because I think I'm covering up with my big wide body. Got a new data play in the box here. Now this is, you'll be vibrated, by the way. You're on a monopod and it's shaking around a bit because of the floorboard, so sorry if you're feeling seasick, but that's what that's about. Yeah, so I've got a new data play, brand new in box. Now the thing with this is, people go on about, there goes the stand. I'll just get that out of the way. Great. Right, people go on about this tech mode effect, you know, where I'll feature something in a video, and then on eBay the prices of it will go up. It's a bit artificial. It doesn't really happen. What happens is I buy something off eBay that nobody's bought for years, and then somebody else will go looking for it and they find the only other one that's left that was at a ridiculously expensive price, which was the one that I ignored for years, waiting for the cheaper ones to come out that I did a video on. So I have patience, and I'll wait for something for a couple of years. There was something recently I bought and I'd only ever seen them for like a £1,000. I ended up getting it for 300, but that's because I waited 2 years for it. So the next person goes, if I do a video, I go, well, I'll go and have a look at that. Oh, it's £1,000. The price has gone up. You said it was 300. Yeah, that's not, you know. So anyway, that's what people get giddy about, this tech man effect. I've got to tell you about the guy There's a guy in the forums. You know, I did that video about the Panasonic Walkman. I think, no, not Panasonic. Was it Iowa? Yeah, an Iowa Walkman. Was it Panasonic? No. Anyway, the one that was brand new in box a while ago. And it had been featured on the tapeheads.net forums. And it had been on there, I think, about a year, maybe longer. And I'd seen this thing on there. And I thought I should get myself one of those one day. And in fact, I'd only seen it after it had been on there 6 months. And then I kind of forgot about it. Then I remembered about it again. Long story. And then, of course, they were sold out online. And then so I waited a few more months. And then one popped up. I thought I'll buy that now. So probably about over a year from the day someone first put it on tapeheads.net saying this guy's got a stock of these if you want to buy one. And then I waited perhaps another 6 months after I bought it. It just sat here in a box before I finally got around to doing the video on it. I did the video on it. I think you're right. Everyone who wanted one will have bought one now. Put the video out, and these people, a couple of people got angry. I'll never get one now. Now you've featured it. I wanted one of those, and you've ruined it by showing it to everyone on YouTube. There's no chance of me getting one now. That's unfair. Showing it to everyone, all this kind of stuff. And it was like, I actually got back to this person and said, "But hold on, you've had a year and a half to buy one of these. So if you haven't bought one by now, why are you going to buy one now?" And the guy said, "Well, I didn't have a year and a half. I've only just found out about it now because of your video." It writes itself, this stuff. So the guy wasn't aware of the thing until I featured it in the video, but then he was angry that I'd featured it in the video because that meant other people could buy it, one of which was him, who didn't know about it until the video came out. So anyway, this whole tech mode effect, the reason I was mentioning all this data play thing, this is a positive result of that. As I hoped it would be. You might see in the comments under the data play thing on Patreon where I said by publicising it, hopefully some people will realise they've got one, or they'll put it on, they'll put it on eBay as a result, or they'll get in touch with me and say, I've got a couple of those if you want to spare one. Well, this is a funny one. I think I've been sleeping a lot recently, and I keep waking up about 10 in the morning. I don't know why. It's something a bit wrong with me. I'll go to bed late-ish, but, I just don't wake up. And I'm like, oh, it's 10. Anyway, so this was one of those days. Other days I wake up at 6. But anyway, I woke up at 10 this day, went and checked some emails, and there was a couple of emails. There was a guy saying, hey, there's one of those data plays on eBay. Then there was another person who said that. And so then I clicked on it, and it said sold. And it said brand new inbox, data play classic, and it looked just like this. I thought, I missed out on that. It's a bit of a shame, but, I was asleep. What can I do? And then some guy got in touch with me a day or two later and said, I've got something for you if you want it. I'll send it over to you. It's to do with data play. You'll like it when you get it type of thing. So he was being a bit cryptic, but I got back in touch. I said, I don't normally do this. I said, yeah, okay, well, what have you got there? Is it, which model? He says, it's the classic. So I thought, I wonder if it's this one. So I got into it. He sent it to me. I paid him the postage. It was like cost me $100 postage, so it's not like a free thing. But it cost him something else on top. So I don't think he ended up paying all that much. But it was nice of him to send it over. And so when I got it, I said, "Oh, I've received it. By any chance, was it the one that was on eBay?" And he says, "Yeah, it was." I said, "Well, was it yours? Were you selling it?" He said, "No, he bought it," and then he sent it on to me. So nice of him to do that. So the one that I missed out on is the one that I've got here in my hand. One of those positive effects of me making the video about it. Now, slightly negative thing on that. I wanted to do a follow-up video and do one where I featured a pre-recorded data play being played on that, showing the application with the video in it and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, not going to happen at the moment because unfortunately, loads of people got in touch with me and said that there was a data play device for sale, by the way, on a website. Loads of people, must have been 50 people, told me about this. Sent the same link through to me, some sort of Saver store or something. Now, I'd seen that website 6 months earlier because it's the only one that appears when you search for data play devices. And it's in Google. I mean, I use Google. I'm sure everybody else uses Google. So I search on Google. First page of Google results. This comes up. You go in it. It's a dead old web page. You can see no one's updated it in about 10 years. And you click on it, and it's... Sorry about this. Right, that was a bit dad there. Let me just check my blood sugar. Yeah, we're all right. Okay, so where was I? I was talking about this. Loads of people had sent me a link to a data play device on an old website, and it's if you clicked on it and said add to cart, it would say out of stock because what happened is it's just an old web page that's just been abandoned, like an orphaned web page. If you have an e-commerce site and you're selling things and you have 1,000 pages of different things for different items, and you stop selling that particular item, well, you might not go in and delete the page. You just don't link to it from your main catalogue page. And that's what this was. It was an orphaned page. So you wouldn't be able to find this page from the website. If you went on the website and said, do you have a data play device, it would just say no results. But because Google, of course, have indexed this page at some point about 10 years ago, if you were to go through Google, it still lists there and you can click through to it. But yeah, I say 50 odd people must have sent me the link to this same page, which is nice of them to do that and say, oh, I found it. But it was on the first page of Google, and as soon as you clicked add to cart, it wasn't in stock, which was a shame. But yeah, it was funny because the first one said, oh, someone's got it, oh, great. Then I got another one, and then by the time you got like 40 odd, please don't send me this link again. But I know everyone's got their best intentions. It was a bit sad because I feel like they're making an effort, and I can't really reply and say, yeah, thanks, but no thanks. It's not really worked. It sounds very negative getting back to people saying, yeah, I tried that, it was out of stock, I already knew about it. You don't really know what to say, it's very awkward. But yeah, as far as the pre-recorded title goes on the album, the Data Play album, a couple of people sent me a link to a pre-recorded Data Play disc. They said, oh, these people have one in stock. And it was Pink, Misunderstood, which was one of the few titles that came out on the format. And it's one of the ones that, if you often look at pictures of pre-recorded Data Play albums, they show that one. So it's one of the more prominent ones of the first few. I think more of those got out than the others. And it was on this US website that sold second-hand records. I think they might have sold new records as well, but it was in their back catalogue. The thing was, when I clicked on this, it didn't take me there. The browser would just sit there doing nothing. And I kept trying a few different browsers and thought, what's going on here? And then I thought, it's in the US. I wonder if they've got a lockout on this, so people from other countries can't view it for some reason. So I went onto a VPN, quickly set one up. I don't normally use a VPN because they're just too slow and they cost a lot of money. So I set up this VPN very quickly and pretended I was in the US. Clicked on the website, came straight up, came up with this page, Misunderstood, Pink, Data Play, clicked to basket, add to order, then went through that, and of course at the end it said we only ship to the US addresses. So I got in touch with Ralph, Dr. DCC from the DCC Museum, only because I'd been communicating with him just before, and I didn't feel as cheeky as I would do if I got in touch with someone just out of the blue. I don't normally do things like this. In fact, this is probably the first. And I said, sorry about this, Ralph. They'll only send to the US. Could you order it for me, as he's in the US, and then send it on to me? I'll pay all the expenses and stuff and all the rest of it. Could you... If not, don't worry about it. It's just asking, don't feel put out. And kindly enough, he agreed to do it. So he ordered this. It went for, and a few days later, of course, he receives it, opens the parcel, and it's just a normal CD. It's not the Data Play of Pink Misunderstood. So he gets in touch with them and says, oh, we must have mixed it up. Sorry about that. Can you send it back? Blah, blah, blah. So, of course, he does it, sends it back, and then I think probably 10 days go by, and then maybe longer, and he gets back in touch with me and says, well, you never guess what, they sent the CD again, but we in between there he told me about the earlier one. I says, I bet they never had it in the first place. So yeah, unfortunately they don't have it in, because when he got back in touch about that one, he said, you sent the CD again. They said, oh yeah, somebody must have put the thing under the wrong category when they were cataloguing. It doesn't look like we've got the Data Play. So I still don't have a pre-recorded Data Play disc. I don't feel like I can get back in touch with the obsolete obsolete media archive, because I borrowed his title before. It just seems like he's sending his thing back and forth. I'd rather have my own copy that I could just have a play around with for a bit. So if you know of anyone with a pre-recorded Data Play album, I know that's a bit of a long shot, isn't it? But if you do, I would like to buy it, because I need it to go with my brand new Data Play machine, so I can then do the follow-up video. But as with a lot of my videos, you start on something, it'll be 6 months, it'll be a year before I get to that. The other reason I'm rushing it a little bit is because the guy who sent me this will be thinking, well, where's my Data Play video? I sent him a free Data Play player, there's no video. So it kind of puts a bit of an onus on me to hurry along with that one. Right, moving on from that, the Data Play thing and all the rest of it. You might notice I'm kind of going a bit mad, I think. I don't know if it's apparent on the videos, but being at home on your own all day for years, just speaking to the missus for a bit in the evening, but then when she comes home, she'll go on Facebook or whatever, or she'll go out and go running or something. So there's a kind of few hours a week where I interact with anyone, and then I'm just on my own all the rest of the time. And it's kind of, I'm one of those people that is great on their own. I don't get sad about it. I'm not, there's a lot of people that really do rely on having other people around them all the time. I enjoy nothing better than being on my own, watching a movie or something, just chilling out. But also, I don't think it's mentally good for me, being on my own all the time. Of course, I used to work in offices ever since I was 16, with hundreds of people in them, and it forces you to interact with other people. I'm a hermit by nature. I am an introvert. I will not talk to people. I don't go up to random strangers and have a chat with them. I like to keep to myself. I'm probably a very shy person. All these words annoy me because they're kind of treated as negative. Oh, he's an introvert, he's shy, he's a loner, as though like there's something bad about that. And society looks on that as that person's a bit of an outcast, a weirdo. I don't think there's anything wrong with being a person that just doesn't get along with other people too much, but doesn't interfere with them doesn't annoy people, just kind of keeps to yourself, potters along quite happily. The negative side of it is just spending all this time on my own. I think I'm going a little bit mad. So just thought I'd mention that. If you notice anything particularly odd going on, just let me know. I think I need to take a break for a bit. I'm suffering slightly from mental exhaustion. I've done over 600 videos non-stop. Well, I say non-stop. Some of those were when I was working. But look, the last few years has been intense. Every day's been making a video or editing a video or whatever. 60 of those comedy outros. People keep saying, can you do another one? Can you do another one? I've done 60. There was only something like 10 episodes of Fawlty Towers or something. There was like the UK Office had teens of them. I know those things are a lot better and a lot longer, but that's 60 ideas I've had. It's hard thinking at 60 ideas. A lot of TV series, of course, it's based around an idea. They'll say, right, in this episode, this is the one where Chandler loses a leg in an accident or something. So, but that's the idea for the episode, and they write it around. Well, I've had 60 ideas. I struggle with that. But yeah, as far as the other one, 600. I mean, I've got loads more things to do, but it's just been an intense period for a long time, and I am a bit tired. And that is why I was trying to do that throwaway video the other week, with the linesman's telephones. The concept of that was, in my head, this is what I wanted to do. A simple video, because it was a simple thing. There was not a lot to talk about. It was one of those videos where you go, here's a thing, here's what it does, and that's it. And you move on. I've got a room full of things like this where I could just, here's a thing, here's what it does, here's how it does it, and that's the end. There's no story behind it, there's no history, it's not got any interesting tale, or there's no kind of press about it, magazines. Just a thing, just an object that's interesting, but only interesting for a short amount of time. So that was what the linesman's telephones were. And my plan was, with having the camera up here and having the two cameras at once, that I'd be able to do it live to camera, and then it would need minimum editing. I wouldn't even need to do a second camera angle because it's already been shot. I could cut between them where necessary, and I could get it all out in my head within sort of a day and a half from starting shooting it to getting it out. And that would then give me just a couple of days off, so I could just kind of try and get my brain back in order again. This going over visiting my father takes, it's like 3 days, because I drive over one day, I see him the next day and come back in the evening, but the next day after that I'm completely shattered again and I can't do anything. So it's like a 3-day thing. And I need to find those days from somewhere. So my idea was to do one of this simple video. I called it a cheese sandwich video in the comments because that's what it was. It is exactly what it is. There's no embellishment to it. There's nothing you really can discuss. It's just, oh yeah, I've seen that now, move on. It's either that or don't do the video. But I've got a lot of things that only fit into a video like that. Like these things, like those linesman's telephone, I couldn't have done a longer video. I couldn't have sort of embellished it into some interesting history of linesman's telephones, because I don't know it. I just had that object there. Plenty of things in this room that are like that. For example, let me just reach over here. I just managed to get myself a bone phone the other week. So again, that'll be one of those videos. Here's a bone phone. The end. But it seems like those kind of videos I can't do. Maybe it's the way I did them, but there's an expectation now, because I've done these videos that are quite long. Everything's 20 minutes or so. There's got a bit of history, a lot of detail in it. That trying to do something simple, a cheese sandwich video, isn't possible, because everyone's like, well, hold on a minute, it's just a cheese sandwich video, where's the chips? That's what's going on. So people say, oh, there was a slight delay between that camera and this. Oh, you should have said this, or you didn't say that, or why didn't you cover this, that and the other? Because it was a video that was shot in a day, and it was supposed to be out in a day, really. I noticed on the comments today, somebody said, well, this isn't up to your normal standards. No, it flipping isn't. It's not supposed to be. How can a one-day video be up to the standard of a 5-day video shoot? But I've ended up painting myself into this corner now that I'm unable to do these short videos without a load of people just thinking, what's going on? Why is this video not as good as the others? Because it's not supposed to be as good as the others. But I don't know how I'm going to get this across. I'd like to sort of say at the start of the video, right, the following video you're going to watch is going to be rubbish in comparison to some of the other videos. But it's not a rubbish video. It's just, in comparison to those, it's of a lesser standard. But you can't say that all the time, because it's just weird. I could maybe have a badge in the corner that says kind of third-rate video, a star or something. I don't know. I've got myself into this situation, and I don't know how to get out of it, because I've got a room full of things here that would be interesting in a cheese sandwich video, not in a 3-course meal video. But doing a cheese sandwich video just seems to make everyone lose their minds, so I don't know. Moving on. I'm going to say moving on a lot. I'll try not to. If I say it, say something. Okay? It's two-way, this, you know. I remember that when I was a child, I was about 6 or 7. I was watching Saturday Superstore, I think it was. No, Saturday, the one that came before that. Multicoloured Swap Shop, program with No Lemons on Saturday morning for children. And I remember No Lemons at one point says, hey, there's 2 kids there sat there watching this in their pyjamas. And I'm sat next to my brother, I'm like, oh, he can see us. And I was about that age where I was kind of like a bit amazed by the thing. I think about 6 months later, I kind of figured out what was going on. But I was maybe 6 years old or something. Anyway, so yeah, if you notice I'm saying anyway and moving on a lot, just have a word, and I'll better hear it. Oh yeah, about that linesman's telephone video, because I could sense in the feedback that was coming through that there was a level of dissatisfaction there with the overall quality and the subject matter and stuff. I know people say, oh no, we were fine with it, we enjoyed it, but you get a sense, like say you went in a room and you could tell that everyone was a bit disappointed in you, even though nobody says we are disappointed in you. You could tell everyone's like, it's like that. You get that sense in the comments. You can feel it kind of behind. It's between the words where people, well, yeah, it's all right. So because I could tell, this isn't good. Nobody likes this. I'll dump it. So my idea was I'd just dump it onto YouTube, just drop it on there. And by that I mean I didn't put a subscriber notification in. There's a little tick box that you can put in, subscriber notification, tick. And then when you put your video, turn it to public, all the subscribers get a notification. There's a new video from Techmoan. I think that's how it works. I'll be honest, I don't really follow these subscribe notifications for other channels that I follow, so I don't really know exactly what happens. I've never seen a notification. But yeah, that's what happens, and as a result, you get a load of people immediately watch it. Now, because I didn't put that tick in there, that meant that it would just go into my videos, just general videos. So then, if somebody was sort of on the YouTube and they looked at things, it says, you might be interested in these. It would appear at the top of the list on my channel, I suppose, our most recent video by Techmoan or whatever. But it wouldn't be in a notification. So as a result, of course, loads of comments, if you have a look under there, everyone's going, it wasn't in my notifications, what's going on? YouTube's broken. YouTube, why is this happening? And typical YouTube, and YouTube's fault. It's not YouTube's fault, it's my fault. I didn't put the tick in the box. However, it's an optional tick. That's the thing with it. It's optional. So it's not like a default. I just decided not to put it on that one because I thought, well, I'll just dump it into the feed. What the idea was with that is if people don't like it, they were the ones that went and actively clicked on it and looked at it. Whereas if I put it in the notification feed, it's like saying it's like giving a newspaper, putting it through everyone's front letterbox and saying, here you are, here's what you've got to read today. Whereas with that, it was more of like, if you want to read it, well, go to the magazine shop and pick it up. So it's like somebody's made the effort to flick through, I'll have that, and then go home and read it. That was what the idea was in my head. It's, you weren't. It's a little bit like when YouTube YouTube gave everyone that that flipping album in iTunes. So after YouTube, U2 and iTunes, it's like a tongue twister. But yeah, it's, you know, when U2 gave everyone that flipping album, and it was a free album. Here, everyone, we U2 has done something nice for you. Have a free album. Everyone went, oh, I don't want a free album in my iTunes. It's ruined my iTunes. My life's over. I'm going to burn my house down and go live in a field. You know, it's this kind of anger about having this free album. So then they had to put this thing out and say, oh, sorry about giving you the free album. They must have thought to themselves, what the hell? We spent 6 months in the studio doing this. We gave everyone a flipping album for free, and they've gone like stroppy about it. But yeah, okay. So, but you can see people don't like being given things that they don't like. If they pick something up that they don't like, then they kind of blame themselves. That's what my theory was with it. What I'm getting around to all this is, because I put it out that way, it actually was more successful as a video. I'm not saying it like had twice the number of views or whatever, but because it didn't get all the views on the first day, when the notification would normally like spike your views, and then the next day it's like flatline. Instead, it was like people discovering it, so it kind of discovered it over a couple of days, over a sort of 48-hour period. I think it made more money, because here's what I think about the YouTube ad revenue thing. It might be inaccurate, this, but this is how I feel. I've noticed that if a video has a views over a longer period of time, the ad revenue for it is better on days 2, 3, 4, 5 than it is on the first day. And I think that's because if a video is successful the first day, the ad revenue for, say, day 2 will be like a higher rate. Now, I don't know how it all happens around the back, but say there was Audi was putting up an advert, and also Poundland was putting up an advert. And Poundland say, well, we'll pay 5p for 1 million views or whatever, and Audi says, well, we'll pay 10p for 1 million views. But they'd only put the Audi one on the better, the most popular videos. There's like some sort of hierarchy, some scheme, something or other. So what I think is, day one, I get the Poundland video. Overnight, they go, hold on, this video's doing all right. Let Audi have it. Therefore, video revenue's better the next day. And because I've done this this way of sort of releasing it in a slow releasing, it's like releasing it into the wild like an animal that's been poorly. So I released it into the wild slowly, and it did better, because day 2 it hadn't had all the views. There was still half of them left almost, whereas normally it would just be up and down. So I mean, day 2 revenue was better than day 1 revenue on that one, which is something that never happens. And day 3, of course, it dropped. But yeah, I think overall that video did better because I quietly released it. Now, it's not something you could do all the time, because if you did that all the time, subscribers would go mad, because why am I bothering subscribing if you're not telling me that there's a new video out? But it was an interesting experiment, and something that I was intrigued about the results of. I put out a kind of rubbishy video, and it did better than the previous video that I spent a load of time on. And I hadn't even told anyone about it. Fascinating. Moving on. I did it again. Okay. I was looking at comments. I get about 2,000 comments a week on the channel. The vast majority of those are people just being silly, saying daft things and just like, oh, look at me, Not very many of them are questions. But I was just looking at 2,000 comments a week. I thought, well, if each one of those I put 2 minutes towards answering, by that I mean you have to read through it, then you think, oh, then you type in your answer and press send. I worked out that if I spent every single waking hour of the week answering comments, I could do it, but I wouldn't be able to do anything else at all, from getting up in the morning to going to bed. So yeah, I don't tend to look at comments. A bit disappointing, the comments, when you look in them, and you can always get yourself sad. You can start with the best frame of mind. Again, this thing about staying around on yourself, at home all day. And I clicked on one earlier on. I just thought, see how this is getting on. What the latest things are. And somebody said, I don't watch movies from Nazis, communists, or Hollywood. Now, this was a comment under a video that I'd done about making a Blu-ray player multi-region. I'm using tube on everything now. A Blu-ray player multi-region. So, and in the video I said, because I've got these videos, and I had like a Hong Kong movie, I think, and there was one from Italians. There was some sort of action thing. I don't think it was. Did I have a German film in it? I don't think I did. I think it was Italian. And then some Hollywood movie that I couldn't see because it was a Region 1. So this guy was, I don't watch movies from Nazis, Hollywood, or communists. I thought, well, you're really narrowing it down there. I mean, I don't think people in Hong Kong are communists, and the Italians aren't Nazis. Well, I mean, I suppose a couple of them could be, but they'd all be dead now many years ago. Anyone could be Nazis from anywhere, wherever this guy was from. His probably next door neighbour could have been one. And it's just a weird thing. I thought if you restricted yourself not watching Hollywood movies, then you really narrowed it down. But you see, this is my brain's gone into this now, just by reading one comment and thinking, what a weird guy. And then I kind of go off on this tangent. And then after a while, I kind of lose faith in humanity. I think, oh, everyone's weird, everyone's a nutter. And that's why I have to stay away from the comments, because it really does affect me. Not necessarily like ignore the trolls. It's more like you'll read something and it'll just sort of think, why are people like that? And then you start thinking of other things, and it's a really negative place. It makes me very sad. So, yeah, I don't go in the comments on YouTube. As you know, I'd go in them on Patreon, because people on Patreon are supportive by their very nature. They by putting in the money, there's a barrier of entry, but the people won't pay money to something that they're not interested in. A bit like what I was saying before about sort of posting something through someone's door, or the U2 thing. If you pay money for something, you've got an investment in it, and you're the customer. You can withdraw your investment if you're not interested in it. And if somebody's prepared to do that, I'm prepared to listen to whatever they've got to say. And a lot of things I hear are very useful. I mean, I say about these videos where I put them out and people say, well, that's wrong and this is wrong and the other's wrong. I'd rather they did, because if it comes to me at the Patreon stage, I know that is going to be times 10,000 when it goes out on YouTube. So if the first 10 comments, I can see 5 of them saying, well, it's all right, but this bit's a bit rubbish, I'll seriously think, oh, right, if 5 people think it's rubbish out of like 50 people that have seen it, it's pretty rubbish, and I'll do something about it if I possibly can. Now, going on to the most successful video. Guess what the most successful video I had recently was, out of all the ones I put out? Anki Vector, that stupid little robot that does next to nothing. I'm looking down here because I know it's in a box down here somewhere. Oh, there it is. Back in its box. I mean, it's a toy, and I got it, and it was £250, and I did the video, and I was kind of expecting to be disappointed, but hoped I wouldn't be, but ended up being more disappointed than I was expecting to be in originally. So yeah, I put out that video, trying to be very pragmatic about what I said, not saying it's rubbish, but just so it might not be for you, have a good think about it, the usual kind of things that you'd say, being polite to someone. And it's done better than virtually any other video. And it's not because of the content. It's not because of me, the way I've scripted it, or the stuff. It's just based on the number of people that have watched it. And that is because I got it out very quickly. Because as you might know, I got the device about 3 days before it was, or 4 days before it was due to come out, because I'd done a pre-order, and they adjusted the way they were posting it because of some other reason. I've got a thing through the post saying we've changed our courier, and I think somewhere along the lines it got a bit confused, and the courier just sent it as soon as they got it, which meant I got it like 3 days before it was due to officially be out. So then I thought, wow, this is a bit of a revelation. I've got something before I should have it. I rushed a video, I say rushed, I spent all 2 days on it as much as I could continuously, so I managed just to get it out at the end of there. As you'll know, it didn't have a Patreon advance release, and that meant I could have it on YouTube probably about a day to a day and a half before any other, or maybe 2 days before any other reviews came out. So other than the ones that were provided to press, who managed to get theirs out virtually around about the same time or just after, I had one of the first videos on it, and as a result of being one of the first, it then gets the highest views, of course, because the most people start viewing it at the beginning, and then it's hard for the other ones to catch up because it always appears at the top of the list. Most viewed videos, if you look for Anki Vector, I'll click on that, and then so it's a snowball effect, and that is one of the videos I've had with the longest legs for ages. And I mentioned this effect of a video just getting released, having a ping pong, and then it's dead. Well, that just had a roll on for a couple of weeks or so, and as a result, like I was mentioning before about the monetary thing, because it didn't just have the initial hit, it had legs to it. The ad revenue for it carried on at a reasonable amount. I'm not rich off it, but I mean, I'll give you the figures. I think overall that video brought in, I think, £1,200 for a thing that cost me £250. in total, actually plus the tray, and of course then 2 days worth of working. But yeah, it was a successful video, much more successful than anything that I'd done for 6 months. In fact, I think it was the most successful video of 2018. I'll lie a little bit there because the most successful one is a video from 2017. I did a video about the most expensive format in the world ever or whatever, which was the reel-to-reel thing. Now, it was a bit of a clickbaity title, but it was the video wasn't just a silly video. And that one came out in December 17, I think. So that was like from the previous year. I think that was the one from December 17. There was definitely, that video was first, I think, as far as revenue, and I don't know why that one's done particularly well. It's just completely shot in the dark, because other videos I've done that are sort of along the similar lines just haven't had that kind of effect. Strange. So there, that was the most successful video of 2018, if you're interested. I know it's gone on a bit this now. I don't know how long this camera can record for without batteries dying or it complaining about recording too long. So I'll try and rush along. I'll skip that one because it's not that interesting. I'll mention it quickly. The last video I did, I said I was waiting for a VHD coming from the US, but the people weren't sending it to me. Well, it arrived the other day. I finally got it. So that's the last piece in the puzzle for me to revisit VHD and show all these additional things I've got recently. So that's a very complicated video. There's a lot of things to pull together for that one. So I've really got to feel in the right frame of mind before I start on that, because that's like, then I'm going to be sat in this chair looking at that screen for a full week. And I've got a problem with one of my eyes that's just a degenerative eye problem that's going worse and worse, and it's making me a bit bog-eyed, so I can't, spending too long looking at screens isn't the best thing I can do. Now, I'll mention quickly Article 13. I'm sure everyone will be going on about this at the moment, the fact that there's this European legislation that's been changed slightly to put the content provider as responsible for anything that's on their website as far as copyright infringement goes, so that therefore they could get sued. Basically it means if YouTube, if I put something up on YouTube which I wasn't entitled to, the owner of that thing could sue YouTube for damages. But when you read through it, I think YouTube are throwing the toys out their pram about this one. It seems like the wording seems almost the same as it was before. It's just a bit of a clarification. And it just says that they should have adequate prevention measures in place, and they do. I mean, I put what was it the other week? I put a video up and it had 15 seconds. Oh yeah, Across 110th Street by Bobby Womack that was in that video. I had, at one point, I had it playing for 20 seconds. That was the turntable with the pitch control, so it could go from fast to slow. So it started, I turned it up slowly to fast and turned it all the way down to slow, and that was it. It took about 20 seconds. So at no point was Across 110th Street playing at the correct speed. Well, for 1 millisecond perhaps in the middle, maybe a little bit longer. But that's it, it was 20 seconds in total. And I uploaded the video to YouTube and it flagged it. It says copyright, Bobby Womack, 110th Street from this point to that point in the video. So I went back and I snipped that section. I took, instead of doing the up fast to slow, I just went up to fast and played that bit slow, played that bit, but didn't do the gradual bit in the middle, and that was okay. I took it down to like 10 seconds or something, and it didn't recognise it then. Similarly with the Mission Impossible video, the bit that was split down the middle with Jim driving his car, one time in a blue jacket, the other time in a grey jacket, and it was cut down the middle. So what I'd done was I'd found that by accident on two separate things, thinking it was the same shot. I was surprised that, hold on a minute, it isn't the same shot. I thought they'd colour corrected it for a start off, and then I thought, no, they can't be doing that in the 60s. What's going on here? And then realised he'd got a different jacket and tie on. Put it side by side, ran that section for, again, it was, I'd say 30 seconds, this one. But it was two different videos with a line down the middle, so not even matching what the original video would have been, as a straight video. And of course, he's doing different things at different times. One, he's driving his car, the other one, he's just got out of the car, and all this kind of stuff. And it matched it. It said, CBS owns this or whatever. I thought, well, you flipping don't, because you bought it off Desilu. Anyway, so I went back and I snipped the video up. I went bing, took little bits out, second here, second there, jumped it, so it's flowed, but at no point was any of it played for more than 5 seconds. It didn't recognise it then. But yeah, that's the trouble. You see, I think that's adequate prevention to stop anyone uploading anything. I didn't upload a whole episode of Mission Impossible. I didn't put any audio on from Mission Impossible. I didn't play anyone's records on there for a long period of time. You can go on iTunes now and play a record that you haven't bought for a minute. I think it is for most of them, depending upon the overall length of the record. So, yeah, this sort of free sample, little segment type thing, fair use, all that kind of stuff. I think they've got adequate preventions in there, but what YouTube is saying is if this rule goes through, they're not going to be, they're going to switch off YouTube in Europe. People in Europe won't be able to upload to it. People in Europe won't be able to watch YouTube. And then the reason I mention this is because people gleefully in comments and things every now and then say, oh, what are you going to do about Article 13? Oh, what about, oh, that'll really mess it up for you. Oh, yeah, like laughing. It's kind of like standing watching a house burn down and go, oh, there goes your lounge. Oh, that's just a tea. It was nice, that, wasn't it? You know, it's kind of this gleeful thing. So the answer to that, I wouldn't answer any of those people. The answer to what will you do if you're not allowed to upload videos to YouTube is, I will not upload videos to YouTube. I mean, it's obvious, isn't it? What will you do if you can't do the thing? I won't do the thing because I can't do the thing. I mean, where's the question in it? Hopefully it won't come to that. I don't think it will. But if it does, it does. There's absolutely zero I could do about it. I have no influence over this whatsoever. I mean, all people putting these videos up going, oh, it's ridiculous, Article 13. Oh, look at me, isn't it sad? Yeah, like that's going to change some politician's mind in flipping Strasbourg or something. Like he's going to watch that video. He don't give a stuff. Don't you know what YouTube is? You know, it's just some guy ticking a box on something. Even if you got that guy in the street and shook him and told him all the information about it, there's still the other people you'd have to go and speak to. You cannot influence these things, unfortunately. That's just the way it is. It's down to, look, how will it turn out? Let's find out and then deal with it then. And my theory is, say YouTube did do this, which they wouldn't, because they would lose so much revenue. From my own personal experience, as far as revenue goes, or, well, views anyway, I don't know about revenue breakdown. But number one country, US. Number two, UK. Number three, Germany. Number four, Canada. And then after that, rest of Europe. Netherlands, you know, France is quite low down actually. But, you know, so if you take all Europe out, including Germany and all the rest of it, and then worked out as percentage of views and monetary income from adverts and all the rest of it, they'd lose an absolute fortune. Now I know they can afford to because it's Google, but I don't think they'd want to cut their nose off to spite their face. I think they'd find some way around this. But if they did shut it down, what I reckon would happen, just completely out of the blue, my own thoughts, a company, for example in the US, could open up and say, right, I know you're not allowed to upload your videos to YouTube anymore from Europe, but you know we recognise that you're one of the more popular YouTubers in the UK on the tech channels. Therefore, how about we'll upload the videos for you and we'll take a 20% cut or something like that. You know, you can imagine this kind of, there's always an business out of like adversity, opportunity, you know, that kind of thing. So yeah, if there was something like that, someone would figure a workaround. And if they didn't, it doesn't matter, I'll just have to stop doing this and go work at a petrol station at the top of the road or something. I can't do anything about that, do they? They wouldn't have me. I'm not good enough. And then finally, now this is just something that came into my mind, nothing to do with anything I'm doing here. I just wanted to leave on a kind of light note in case this was a bit down, which I don't think it has been, has it? I don't think we've been that depressed overall. To say I'm a little bit punch drunk after all that driving I've been doing. Now, this is something that came into my mind the other day. I've had satellite television since 1989. Now, people in the US don't quite understand this, but I'm not saying that in a negative way. But because cable has been a thing there for a long time, people have had loads of channels. But in 1989, when I got Sky Television, we had 4 television channels. And we'd only had the 4th one since sort of 82, wasn't it, or 84, and then some of the others shut off at certain points of the day, so there weren't that many channels. But in 1989 I got Sky Television installed. Well, it wasn't Sky at the point, it was Astra with Amstrad satellite box. I got another 16 channels or something. I think in total probably about 8 of those were in English. And then satellite television became more prominent. Then we got Freeview television things. So we had this channel explosion in the 90s. But up to then, it had been very staid, 4 channels or 3 channels. In the 90s, it kind of exploded in channel numbers, the kind of thing that the US had for years with loads of channels. But for us, it was a big deal in the 90s. So, of course, with all these channels, you need to fill them in with something, don't you? You got like, if you're especially running them all day, you can't really shut them off at lunchtime, although some of them did, or swapped over to others and things. So I found that, say, channels like Sky and things, they started importing a lot of kind of junky TV from the US to fill up time. Cheap stuff as well, you don't buy all the good stuff because you can't afford to fill the day with that. So there was a period where you were always turning on the telly and it was always about UFOs and aliens and stuff. That was a thing. That was like a cheap TV thing. I could always turn on the telly, it'd be like UFOs caught on camera, all this America's Funniest Home UFO. I don't know. What I'm saying is it came in at the same time as the camcorder TV shows, people falling over things and stuff, bloopers and all that stuff. Again, cheap TV. But for a while, around about the time of X-Files, but just before as well, it was all UFOs, especially afterwards. Loads of stuff about it. People saying they got abducted and interviews with people. Shaky video from Mexico taken on VHS camcorders and stuff. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because nowadays we're living at a different time. Pretty much everyone, has got an HD video camera in their pocket all the time. And a lot of people have an HD camera in their car that's on all the time they're driving. And some people have a 4K or better camera in their pocket. Where's all the UFO footage gone? This just came to mind. I thought, hold on a minute. Back when about 20 people had a video camera, it was always stuff. Oh, look at this. This is a UFO over Mexico. Look, they're flying in formation. What are these things in a triangle shape? Oh, this is unusual. Look how it speeds off at trying to zoom in on really blurry video. Now everyone's got full HD video. Don't see a flipping thing from these aliens, do you? Rubbish, isn't it? Now I know I'm joking around here. People will send me links and say, no, I found this video on YouTube. But what I'm saying is, it was like wall-to-wall UFOs at one point. There was magazines and everyone was going on about it all the time. And as soon as everyone gets a full HD camera in their pocket, you don't see any flipping aliens, UFOs or anything anymore. Might be a good... I mean, it's because the cameras were crap, isn't it? People had rubbish video cameras with crappy lenses in that were getting all sorts of chromic aberrations and reflections and things, and lights from the bottom of the street were reflected off the front of the lenses and stuff, and all these things were getting mistaken for UFOs. I'd love to see a UFO. I'm not sort of saying, oh no, aliens are rubbish and all that. I'd love to see a nice spaceship land right in the middle of the road, filmed in Ultra HD on somebody's smartphone. It wouldn't just be one guy, there'd be about 10 people stood around, wouldn't there, if anything happened now, from all different angles. There'd be a few vertical video ones that they'd have to put them blurry things down the side because the clown didn't turn it around, but I suppose there were other things on their mind at the time. But yeah, just wanted to end on that note. Where have all the UFOs gone now that everyone's got an HD camera? Just something to think about, maybe something to ask a friend down the pub next time you see them. But that's it for the moment. As always, thanks for watching.